Well, hello Rockhounds, Lapidary lovers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you've been watching my videos, you know I was recently at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, and I had a great time out there, and I bought a bunch of stuff. But guess what? That's not where I got this stuff. I've got a whole bench full of equipment and rocks here. It did not come from the Tucson Gem Show, and this isn't even all of it. This is just the appetizer. I'll show you the star of the show in a little bit. Didn't fit on my bench. But yeah, so I had two reasons to going out to Arizona this winter. One, of course, was for the Gem and Lapidary show, which I had a great time. I'll put a link in the upper right to the series of videos I made while I was out there. Just fantastic. If you get a chance to go, I highly, highly encourage it. All the venues are free to get in, and you can just shop till you drop. Let me tell you, and you will drop after about 4 days because it's so huge. It's going to take you a long time to see it all. But yeah, the Gem and Mineral show was great. But my other reason, my second reason for going out there was to visit my buddy Jim. Now he lives up in Phoenix, and so I detoured after a few days in Tucson up to see Jim. And the reason I was going to see Jim, well, number one, he's a great friend, so I like to see him from time to time. But also, like a month or so before the show, he knew I was coming. And he got in touch with me and said, "Hey, Mike, there's a really great estate auction about to happen. A guy's died who has a whole shop full of lapidary equipment. Make yourself a shopping list of stuff you might want. And I'll go see if I can buy it at the auction. And if I get it, I'll hold it for you. I'll refurbish it. And when you come see me, you can buy it from me." And I'm like, okay. I knew Jim would get it cheap and he wouldn't gouge me. So, sure. So I sent him a list of stuff I could use. Anyway, after the auction, he sent me pictures of all the stuff he bought and said, "Mike, what do you want? What do you want?" And so I picked a few things out, and he gave me a really good price on it. And I went, I saved enough money. I spent an awful lot of money in Tucson, but I saved a bunch of Benjamins for Jim. Because the stuff he had was just great. So I went up and visited him, and he gave me a great package deal on all this stuff. And I'll show you what I've got here. Starting with this right here. So we got a nice arbor here, ball door buffer. It's got a diamond wheel over here, 100 grit diamond wheel. And over here it's got an expanding drum. And you can put different belts on it with different grits. So, you can start shaping your rocks over here. And then you can finish them over here. And there's whole boxes full of belts over here that Jim got to go with this. And they go from 80 grit to 3,000 I saw in there. So, and I can buy others that go even finer. So, yeah. And he picked up these Lortone splash guards. They don't really go with this thing, but they'll work with it. I just got to figure out a way to mount all this together and get a water supply to it. I'm actually working on that. I've got some parts on order, and I'm working on a design to bolt it all together. Maybe I'll make a video out of that as I put it all together and get it up and running, because I think this is going to be great. I mean, it's not exactly a Cab King, but it doesn't cost a Cab King either, let me tell you. So it doesn't have 5 different wheels, but I can replace the belt on the expanding drum in no time, and I can go all the different grits a Cab King would have. So it doesn't take up as much space as a Cab King, which space is a premium around here. So that's great. Does it work, you're asking? Well, of course it works. Yeah. And then as that drum expands, that belt gets on there nice and tight. And I've already done a little bit of grinding of some rocks on that. It works great. It's nice and quiet. There's very little vibration, but I am going to have to mount it so that it doesn't walk, and if I push it against it, it doesn't slide. And I'm going to have to mount it so that the splash guards are in the right place. Got to get a water supply in it, but that's all coming. That's all coming. So that will happen. yeah, so I'm going to be able to make some cabs, or at least face polish stuff. Making cabs, well, I think there's a bit of a learning curve to that, but I really want to learn, let me tell you. What are these things over here, you might be asking, these big flat discs? Well, these are Diamond Pacific Nova discs for flat laps, 16 inches in diameter. Uh, Jim got me 3 of these. This is a 60, that's a 600, and that's 1200. Okay, well, you might be saying to yourself, we don't have a 16-inch flat lap. They're useless as you know what's on a boar hog. Well, I'm going to build myself a 16-inch flat lap, okay? I've ordered the parts. I'm going to build myself a 16-inch flat lap with a steel plate on top. These are magnetic discs. They'll stick right to that 16-inch steel plate I'm going to put on top of the flat lap. And, yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. I'll be able to go from there to here, and yeah, it's going to be amazing. Now, what else did I get from Jim? Well, don't forget, this stuff is just the appetizer. I'll show you the main course in a bit. You know, got the splash guards, a lot of rock. Jim threw a lot of rock in the deal. I got a whole bag full of agate here. Jim, you got to remind me what kind of agate this is. I didn't write it down, and, you know, 4 days driving home from your place, I've completely forgot what you told me it was, but pretty looking stuff, and there must be 15 pounds of it here. Up here, blue forest petrified wood, more agate. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, that is one big Montana moss agate right there. That is a monster. Jim actually tumbled this, believe it or not. Wow. And then this box is just full of all kinds of rocks and agates. I got a bucket full of amethyst that's already been through rough tumbling, and some red jasper in there too that's already been rough tumbled. So a lot of the hard work's been done. So anyway, good stuff. Whew. And if you think that's good, let me move the camera and show you the star of the show. Okay, the thing that I really think I'm going to have a whole lot of fun with. Okay, so here it is. Here's the big kahuna, the star of the show as far as I'm concerned. So what is this? Well, let me show you. This is a Raytech 10-inch trim saw with automatic feed over here. This is something that I have been wanting for a long, long time, is a decent trim saw. And that's what we got here, is a decent trim saw. Yeah. I can't wait to use this, okay? It all works. It all works. I'll give you a quick walk around on it, okay? So here it is. Jim did a really great job refurbing this thing. It's used, well loved. The fellow who owned it before, he made knives. And he used this saw mainly, we think, for cutting horn for the hilts of the knives. So, yeah, it was a mess. When Jim got it, he said it was absolutely caked with this brown black stuff, and he had to scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape it to get it off. He said the works were all gummed up and didn't work. The motor, he replaced the motor with a new one just because he didn't like the looks of the old one. Jim knows his lapidary equipment. He got this old Raytech up and running again. Works great. There's the blade. Turn the feed on. Yep, feed's working. Oh, I can't wait to start cutting stuff with this. Yeah, I've had to order some more saw oil. I don't have enough on hand, but I've ordered some saw oil. Jim recommends I use it with oil instead of water, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill it up with saw oil, and I'm going to start cutting stuff. And wow, have I got stuff to cut. I've got a ton of stuff I brought back from Tucson. And I've got the rocks that Jim sold me. And I just can't wait. Like, I've got them in Lowy agate here. I want to cut it. I got this in Tucson. I want to cut it, but I got to wait until my saw oil arrives. So I think we're going to have a major cutting video in the not too distant future when my cutting oil arrives and I can fill the saw up and start cutting stuff. I can freehand stuff with this. You know, I could just move this thing out of the way and I can freehand cut stuff, or I can use the auto feed and the clamp over here and I can cut it that way. So either way, you know, I'm going to freehand cut some Malawi agates, and I've got some bigger stuff I'm going to cut with the clamp and the drive here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. And then after I cut the stuff in here, once I get my arbor and splash guards and water supply all put together, I can work on them out here. Plus I got a flat lap to build. So, wow, I'm going to have a lot of great lapidary equipment once I get all this stuff up and running. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. Jim, thank you so much. You're a great friend. You're great with the equipment. You know exactly what you're doing. You asked me what I wanted. I told you. You got me exactly what I wanted. Just fantastic, Jim. And I really couldn't be any happier with this stuff. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I don't mind that it's used. I know you've refurbished it, and it's probably going to give me a lot of years of flawless service. So thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot for the great deal. And, buddy, you are the best. And, hey, I couldn't be much happier with this stuff. If you guys are happy with this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos where you're going to see all this equipment in action and hopefully some really pretty rocks as a result of using this equipment. So subscribe, and I'll see you in those future videos. Thanks a lot for watching this one. Bye.